Hey guys, Sarah here, bringing you the December balance patch version 1.3 update. Bit of a breakdown on this. Released as of 5 hours ago, so that's nice. Of course, this means that I can't watch any of the replays, and I have been meaning to try cast a few of these replays, but moving on. Anyway, so let's see which ones won the contest. We have recon support and mechanized for US forces. Good choices there. Tank hunter tactics and guard rifle combined arms for Soviets. So I'm kind of sad we didn't see defensive here. This is easily the worst commander. But that wasn't in the default options, and I know that the modding team, the way that they explained it, they didn't want to renovate the worst commanders strictly. They wanted to, like, I mean, it's especially relevant for the Soviets and Austria because they have so many different commanders and so many of them are terrible. But yeah, they wanted to like renovate commanders that had a lot of bad abilities that would, were shared with a lot of other commanders. I think that's their goal. But anyway, tank hunter tactics for the Soviets and guard rifle combined arms. So yeah, tank hunters probably does need a bit of a spruce up, honestly, but guard rifle combined arms. For those of you, I mean, this is obviously a very underutilized commander, so you guys might not be aware of what's in it. No, that's not the right. This is the right one here. Guard rifle combined arms. Second on this on COH2.org. They've got nice guides, even though these are a little bit outdated. I mean, they'll probably be outdated even worse soon. It's got hit the dirt. Very underutilized ability. Guard rifle combined arms. I mean, guards, you don't see them too much. I think probably receive slightly too many nerfs, but they're not too far off. I don't think they'll be changing guards. Conscript assault package. Well, PPSHs have been nerfed, so they've already been changed. Maybe they might combine PPSHs and hit the dirt or something like that. I'm not sure. The howitzer. Well, it would be nice to see some howitzer changes. I know in the full balance patch they're going to decrease them to 400 manpower and 50 fuel, something like that, to make them more similarly priced to a rocket artillery unit. So maybe we'll see some changes to the howitzer. And the IL-2, I mean, it's pretty good. It gets shot down very quickly by anti-aircraft, but the ability itself is pretty decent. So yeah, there is the old Soviet commander. Now we're going to the British Royal Engineers. Well, that one definitely needed to change, especially the flame building targeting ability. That thing is trash. It comes way too late. Every building's pretty much destroyed by the time you get it. Used to only be good for killing OKW trucks back when it would target them, but doesn't do that anymore. And commandos, yeah, this also needs a spruce up. Mortar cover in commandos very strong, but the rest of the commander a bit lackluster, especially since they nerfed the big bombing run it had, which is still a decent ability, but the commander itself isn't desirable enough. Firestorm for OKW and Luftwaffe ground forces. Surprised they didn't. Overwatch didn't win this one. I think Overwatch is probably the worst OKW commander. One with the Goliath and the scouting reinforcement thing and the flares on points. I think that's probably the worst, but I don't think that was in the options. I think you had to type that in as other. So it seems like I think all of these were in the click options. None of these are right in other things. So I don't know if they just disregarded people writing in others. They already had an agenda. I'm not going to start a conspiracy theory here. I'll leave that for you guys in the comments. And Ostrupen, bit of a surprise. This still sees quite a lot of use, even in team games. I mean, railway artillery is still strong. But yeah, they're the commanders, so I mean that's not going to be changed yet. That's just the result of the voting. Okay, so here we go. Let's get stuck in. Infiltration units. Now the ability start on cooldown. This has been a important change. A change that, yeah, most people have wanted for a long time. Various players took this long. I mean, it was either this or they made it so you couldn't spawn them in enemy territory. And it looks like they're going with cooldown option, so there you go. So that means no more, infiltration commandos coming out and just throwing a nuke nade and killing everything. Similarly, partisans, you won't be spawning and then throwing anti-tank grenade on your vehicle, so that's good change. Demo charges. Now have a 3-second timer once activated. Visible to all players. Oh, so when you activate it, the timer appears? Interesting. And the cost is being reduced. So this is going to make it a lot harder to get those highlight wipe on blobs. But it's an interesting change, because I feel like in ones, the most common use of demo charges is on a far off point that your opponent's just going to queue up a capping command to go to that they're not going to be paying attention to. So I feel like demo charges are still going to be very strong in that sense. One, just like lone capping squads, but this will make it a lot less impactful in those big team modes. I know this is more targeted at team games. So, yeah, alright. Demo charges did need a change, but I feel like this isn't the change that I was really looking for. Garrisoning. Reduce unload time from 0.5 to 0.375. So units will get out faster, probably to help them dodge grenades. And units will get in slightly faster, but the max time remains. So I suppose like 6 model squads will still get in at the same speed, but smaller squads will get out faster. So this will probably, yeah, I mean, looks like they're still committed to implementing this garrison unload and load time though. Reduce grenade damage versus buildings. I suppose this is mainly targeting probably like wooden structures. So at the moment you throw 2 grenades on pretty much even like a big hefty wooden structure and it'll get flattened. So it looks like they're trying to reduce the instances of that being a problem. So yeah, I mean they're trying to make this. They're doing some fine tuning. So we'll see how those play out. So volley fire slot weapon is being changed. It's being reduced on weapon rack items to prevent rear echelons from immediately pinning down infantry in the late game if they are upgraded. So I tried to actually cast 2 different Balance Patch games with US forces in it, but unfortunately I didn't get to them before the patch came, so I didn't get to see re-echelon volley fire on weapon slots in action, but it sounds like it was too strong and they're going to nerf it with with slot weapons, bars, M1919, so it's good. Captain on Me will no longer provide combat bonuses to better represent the ability's lack of munitions cost and to limit the power of blobbing infantry around the captain. On Me will still break suppression and allow infantry to sprint to allow US forces players to relocate units on the field. So it doesn't have accuracy and received accuracy, but still breaks suppression and makes infantry run faster. Ooh, I don't think on me was that big of an issue in its current iteration. I know before it used to be quite bad when it would give you like suppression. I think it would give you suppression resistance, and I think the bonuses were bigger on it. But I could see removing the received accuracy bonus. Maybe keep the weapon accuracy. I don't know. It's not a big change, but it does make army a bit worse. It is pretty cheap though. They're right. It's quite low cost. I wonder if they'll change the officer charge on the air landing officer, which is also very cheap and very strong, or even probably maybe even stronger than on me. Anyway, M36 Jackson. Whoa, damage from 200 to 160. Holy shit. Penetration is being bumped up by 20 at all ranges. So what they're saying here is they're making it less potent versus low health vehicles. So, you know, with 200 damage with 2 hit units like the looks. So it looks like they're trying to avoid that from happening. And they're increasing the penetration. I feel like this is overall a nerf to the Jackson. Reasonable nerf to the Jackson. I don't know. I didn't get to see the Jackson his performance. I mean, what how does it compare now to the Jagdpanzer? I'd have to do like a direct stats comparison. But I'm not going to do that in this video. It's a bit too challenging to orchestrate in terms of, you know, rate of fire and all that. But that seems that seems like an overall pretty big nerf. Maybe they need to drop its fuel costs back now again. Anyway, yeah, big change to the Jackson in overall nerf. Soviets. Forward HQ on the commander. So they're changing this without changing the commander itself. You know, as being a contest winner. So forward HQ, this is basically only used in team games with lots of urban, like very hardy buildings, concrete buildings that don't get destroyed easily. Used to be really popular in ones as well back in the day when it cost, I think it was like 20 fuel, 10 or 20 fuel, but then they changed the Soviet starting fuel, then they changed the fuel of this, and yeah, they changed many things. But anyway, that's in the past. Requires structure to be in connected territory. So I suppose this is to activate it initially. So I mean, in team games, the problem with it is, you know, the squad just runs straight to a strong building in a good spot on the map, plops down the HQ, and then it's trouble. So it looks like now you have to cap the points on the way there. So that's good. It'll kind of stop that cheese. 50% damage converted to 25% accuracy. Oh, that's a huge nerf. Armor modifier from plus 50 to plus 25%. Another huge nerf. I wonder if this also requires the structure to be in connected territory to reinforce. They don't mention that. I mean, can it get any more nerfs? Anyway, they're reducing its cost to 20 fuel less. I don't know. I don't know how to react to that one. I mean, those are some big nerfs there. I don't know. I mean, but if you make it any less fuel than this, people will probably just spam it, right? I don't For Mother Russia, 100% armor bonus removed. Accuracy and speed bonuses remain, and duration reduced from 60 to 30. Big nerfs to it. It costs 100 munitions. I know it was like too strong before this, for sure. I'm definitely on board with the duration reduction. Armor reduction as well. Might be a bit tough. I mean, what is the... I wonder if in this efficiency guide we need the abilities guide. It might not be included in this. Infantry. No, it's not. Heroic charge, I think that's what I was looking for. The one, but they're changing that anyway. It'll be interesting to see how it compares to the one in Luftwaffe ground forces. But that's obviously getting changed as well, that commander. Quite expensive. Maybe too expensive. But yeah, definitely well warranted a change that was much too strong. Conscripts. They're reversing the AT grenade and Molotov upgrade merge due to cost effectiveness. Okay, so it was too good, and it did seem to be a little bit too good from what I saw. So Molotov's going up in cost. Does not affect partisans. Okay, that's weird. Tripwire cooldown from 0 to 30. I didn't really see that many people tripwire flare spamming these days, but alright. AT grenade and Molotov upgrade are once again separate. Oh yeah, well they said that. And Molotov's being reduced in cost by 5 fuel and 45 manpower. Alright, well I mean if conscripts are a lot better, you know, you might see more Molotov usage. It's probably reasonable. Probably reasonable change. T-34 76. Fuel cost going up by 10. I think that's fine. It is a bit too cheap, honestly. Yeah, as I say, is a T-34 spammer, but you know, these things happen. Though I wonder how this changes the cost to get to the first tank. Because this time I did read through the patch notes before doing the analysis, and they actually decreased the cost of the Panzer IV down here by 5. So how does this impact like the overall cost? Like if you go tier 3, don't make any light vehicles, go straight for a T-34, how quick does it come out compared to the Panzer IV? That's what I want to know. I might include that in the comments. I probably will. I don't want to try to do the maths right now. PM42 flare no longer requires veterancy. Holy shit, that's a big change. I suppose, I mean, the mortar's not that good, but that seems a very strong ability to get a Vet 0. Flare reduces recharge by 25%, especially now they fixed the bug on the flare not triggering. But alright. I'd be perfectly happy leaving it behind Vet 1, honestly. The ZIS. Oh, but then again, I mean, I suppose I think the US mortar has, yeah, I don't know, whatever. I would be happy leaving it behind Vet 1. ZIS. the ZIS is going from 97 pop cap to match its performance. I think at the moment the British and the US forces anti-tank gun are both 7, so this is just equalizing them with those other factions, so that makes sense. And the ZIS barrage is going from 60 to 35 munitions. Oh man, that could be OP, because if you don't know, the ZIS barrage and the EC-76 barrage are not the same barrage. The ZIS barrage has way better AoE on it. So this could actually be like really, really strong. Maybe it's too strong, honestly. I sometimes use this barrage at 60 munitions and I felt I got good value out of it. Especially because Soviets, I feel, are often not that strapped for munitions. Especially with demo charges going down in price. So I don't know. I don't think that's really necessary. But the pocket changes are welcome change. Okay, Wehrmacht. Grenadiers going from 7 to 6 pop cap. Holy shit. That's a big change. That is a huge change. So that's the same as conscripts now. And penals are what? I think they're 8. Riflemen are 7. So they're going to be cheaper than riflemen, 2 cheaper than penals. And I feel like grenadiers with the G43 upgrade are pretty comparable to penals, and might even be better than penals once this patch hits. So grenadiers becoming cheaper. I don't think that was necessary. Alright, pack is going from 9 to 8, so similar to the ZIS, except it's going from 9 to 8. The pack is probably the best anti-tank gun, so it makes sense that it costs more than the ZIS, so there you go. Especially with the new reworked target weak point, I think that's probably fair that it costs 1 more. 251 flamethrowers, far AOE, I don't know, reduced from 1 to 0.5. So yeah, with this is another change that's showing their commitment to the garrisoning and decrewing time of buildings. They're committed to that change, and so they're toning down the 251 half track with the flamethrowers. Because, yeah, I mean, that thing roast squads in a split second, makes sense. They would change that. Stug G. Attack weak point's been changed again. Oh my god. They seem to change it almost every patch. Feels like it to me. Okay, it's going from a main gun disable 15 second to a blind crit that lasts 5 seconds. 5-second blind crit. How long does the blind crit on the Stuart last? Probably pretty similar time, right? So similar to the Stuart. Then attack weak points damage reduced by 50%. I know they wanted to make that change in the full balance preview, because yeah, it's guaranteed penetration. I think the penetration on attack weak point is like 1,000, which is more than any tank has, or like double what any tank has. MG cost reduced from 50 to 30. And MG range increased. So they are trying to make Strug G a little bit better against infantry by making the machine gun cheaper and longer range. I don't think the MG needs, I mean the range, does the MG need to be any cheaper? The problem with making the MG cheaper is that it kind of makes it a no-brainer upgrade, and the machine gun can still shoot down planes quite effectively. So I know that aircraft changes, you know, have been floated around for a long time, but if they're not changing the way that aircraft get shot down, this kind of makes yeah, it just makes it good against. I suppose I'm not opposed to it being cheaper to fight against infantry better, but I am opposed to it for shooting down planes easier, for being a no-brainer upgrade. Right. Ostwind is being changed to make it more consistent and reliable as an anti-infantry platform regardless of map, while still being able to chip away at armoured vehicles. Projectile no longer collides with terrain, so they changed quite a few things no longer collide with terrain, which is good. Because yeah, at the moment the flak pans are, yeah, if there's a hills, it can struggle. So they're increasing its scatter, decreasing its AoE. AoE damage. Oh wow. AoE damage. So at the near it's doing 0.8. So that's interesting. They're changing this, the near damage, to be 0.8. Instead of nerfing the damage of the Ostwind. So the Ostwind will perform the same against vehicles, but each shot will actually do less if you get it on the near, like right at the center of the projectile against infantry. But then they're increasing it on further away ranges. That's an interesting change. So it'll be less devastating if it gets a direct hit, but it will kind of be more evenly spread out. Well, I'll have to wait and see how this shakes out. With these projectile changes and stuff, you really have to experience them to I mean, you can like look at them on paper and go, okay, this is what's happening, but you can't be sure how they perform until you really know. Fuel cost reduced to 90 fuel. I don't know if it needs a fuel cost reduction. Maybe its performance reflects that now. But I remember when Von Ivan would, go with his crazy strategies and rush out an Ostwind and do very well. Skip tech. Now it's going to be 10 fuel faster. Interesting. Well, it depends on its performance, I suppose. Penetration increased. Whoa, the Ostwind, because the Ostwind's like pretty good against like the Stuart, T70. Is this gonna be broken against US forces rushing an Ostwind? It might be, right? Wow. And max range increased as well. Oh my god. So most tanks have 40 range. So now I'll shoot further than the average tank. And further than it sees. I think most tanks have 35 sight range. So 10 further range it can shoot outside line of sight. So, I mean, yeah. Okay. Ostwind could be super powerful. Maybe even too powerful. Tiger. Speed from 4.0 to 5.2. I know that the Tiger changes were in the full balance preview, so it looks like they're adding those back in. Speed is going up. Acceleration, deceleration, and pop cap also going up. So I'm definitely on board with speed and acceleration. Tiger's very slow to accelerate and decelerate, but I don't really think it needs a max speed increase. I think its top speed is probably fine, but yeah, acceleration and deceleration is very sluggish. So I'm on board with that. And pop cap increased to 20. Now it's a little bit better now. Increases pop cap, and a few other heavy tanks again. Their pop cap increased. This is fair. Panzer IV. Penetration. Penetration has been increased at every range. 10. I know that a lot of people were keen on the Panzer IV getting more penetration long range. So it looks like that's what they're doing. 10 more pen long range, 5 more at the other. And fuel cost reduction. So yeah, I don't think the Panzer IV needed a fuel cost reduction, honestly. I feel like Austria rushing tier 3 is in a perfectly reasonable position. I don't think making the Ostwind and the Panzer IV cheaper was really that necessary. But yeah, penetration increase is perfectly alright by me. Because yeah, this one's not getting its war speed changed or anything, right? And combined with smoke on some commanders can make the Panzer IV a real headache. But maybe that's more of a symptom of Panzer Tactician than the Panzer IV, I suppose. But you have to consider these things. Anyway, Panther is getting the same machine gun as the OKW Panther. Well, there you go. So it's going to be a little bit better against infantry. Elephants. Accuracy increased. Now that it doesn't two-shot tank, so slightly increasing its accuracy. That's probably fine. Because it is less accurate than the Jagdtiger. So yeah, that's alright. And Ju-87 close air support loiter damage going from 60 to 50. So they're saying it is no longer capable of outright destroying medium tanks in a single pass. So I suppose that would be like a single pass from both planes. Landing a good run on a medium tank will kill it. So it looks like they're trying to stop that from happening. That's fine. Probably a good thing. Okay, OKW Stern Pioneers. Increasing the viability of Stern Pioneers to allow them to better support the rest of OKW in a combat role. So they're decreasing their reinforcement time from 10 to 7. Build time decreased from 40 to 28. Do you know what? This is funny though. Because one of the common things that noobs coming to the game go like, oh, can you critique my build? I see these posts sometimes on forums and Reddit. Like, can you critique my build with OKW? I go 3 Stern Pioneers and then, like tick up. And they say, oh, because I really like Stern Pioneers because they're so strong. And obviously Stern Pioneers are strong. But their build time was extremely long. So now it's getting decreased. So maybe the noobs will be happy and they'll be able to spam Stern Pioneers early. So that's interesting change. I'm definitely on board with the reinforcement time going down though. Not sure about the build time decrease. But yeah, okay. Population decreased from 9 to 8. So I suppose it's making the same cost as a penal squad. What would you rather have, a Stern Pioneer or one of the penal? Probably a Stern Pioneer, I would. Panzerschreck, but I suppose they have to make them cheap, especially now that they've nerfed their repair speed. They have to make them a little bit cheaper so you can get 2 and it doesn't take up too much of your pop cap, so you can actually repair your tanks. Panzerschreck price going from 90 to 70, so it's the same as single one on Stormtroopers. So that's probably a fine change. Not many people use Panzerschreck on Stern Pioneers, in ones at least. Oh, and the veterancy is getting changed as well. Vet 4. Received accuracy and accuracy bonuses removed. And the Vet 5 weapon accuracy moved to Vet 4. So all they get at Vet 5 now is no longer take extra damage whilst repairing. It's not... But I suppose, you know, they wanted to nerf a lot of these v1.5 and v1.4 things for OKW, so maybe this is like the start of that again. Federancy requirements reduced about 10%. Okay, so I want to see what the other Federancy things Stern Pioneers gets. Stern Pioneers weapon cooldown, received accuracy. Okay, so they do get like a reasonable, pretty comparable to most other squads of Vet 2. So that's probably fine. This, like, these two changes combined, probably overall alright for me, in my opinion. And on top of, you know, Stern Pioneers having their repair speeds nerfed in the previous changes, that makes sense. OKW base flak defenses no longer shoot down air targets. About time. It used to be they had quite a high chance of shooting down planes. Then they nerfed it to very rarely, instead of just removing it, which never made sense to me. That they just never should have been able to shoot down planes. So they're removing that. It's a good change. Schwer Panzer HQ. Due to the nature of the Panzer headquarters flak cannon, we are limiting its ability to shut down aerial-based abilities without some form of trade-off. Okay, no longer automatically engages aircraft. Ooh. Now has anti-air ability, which activates AA mode for 60 seconds. While active, it can shoot both ground and air targets. So that's alright. After the AA ability finishes, the gun will go on cooldown for 60 seconds. Oh, where it cannot engage any targets, air or ground. Ooh, that's a spicy change. Like, this is the kind of change, honestly, that makes the game harder for new players who have trouble remembering to activate abilities. 'Cause I mean, when I started this game, I found it quite challenging to activate all the different abilities and all the different units to coordinate correctly. So it's going to make it harder, especially in like just low tier random 4s. So maybe in those low tier random 4s you might actually be able to use your IL2 Sternvik now. Oh, wouldn't that be a joyful day? Interesting. I mean, this going on cooldown, I mean, having to activate it already makes it bad. Or like, you know, less likely to shoot down your plane. But now, with the cooldown as well, maybe, you know, if they shoot down your plane, you go, okay, well, it's going to be on cooldown now. I can try and make a push, try and knock it out. It's an interesting change. The cooldown might be too long, though. Maybe it should go down to like 30. 30? 60 seconds isn't that long, I suppose. Anyway, Stuka. Adjusting the performance of the Stuka to prevent it from destroying team weapons and buildings in a single attack, while making it more vulnerable to flanks and assaulting tanks. So damage versus weapon teams reduced by 50%. Oh, affects the weapon, not the squad. Okay. So yeah, before it would like annihilate weapon teams just because of its high damage. And it'll still annihilate the units crewing the team, but it won't just completely destroy the weapon straight away. So it's probably a good change. Damage versus garrison buildings reduced by 50%. So yeah, just the building itself, not the units inside, because the walking Stuka could pretty much flatten any building in the game in one barrage. So it looks like they're trying to stop that from happening. And this is actually, you know, they nerfed that HQ for Soviets early in this patch, so this kind of makes the Ford HQ a little bit better again, because this was one of the best counters to it. So maybe the Ford HQ is a bit more worthwhile now. And HP reduced from 320 to 160. It never made sense to me why the walking Stuka had like 2 shots from a tank instead of 1 shot when both the Katyusha and Panzerwerfer were one shot. So it looks like they're bringing them in line with those other two rocket artillery pieces, so that makes sense. Probably, yeah, I think these are pretty good changes overall. And they're not making the Stuka worse at wiping squads. That's toning down some of its other effects. Panzer 2 looks... Ooh. The following changes aim to reduce the Luke's potency versus vehicles and further define its role as an anti-infantry unit. So moving scatter penalties increased from 1.25 to 2. So I mean that's actually nerfing it as a anti-infantry unit as well. Target table modifier versus vehicles of 0.0625 added. So if I'm reading that correctly, it will do 6% damage against vehicles. Maybe they've added one too many zeros in here. Maybe it's supposed to do like 62.5% damage to vehicles. But I mean, is that going to make it lose to like the AA half track of US forces? I mean, if it is actually 6% damage, I think it would, right? I suppose you could flank the cannon, but I hope that that's 60%, not 6%. That seems a bit extreme. If I'm reading that correctly, I think I am though. And yeah, they're nerfing it as well. I suppose one of the problems with the looks, yeah, the looks is obviously very strong. Rushing looks is pretty much a no-brainer in ones. And people, and just in anything, in all modes, it's strong. But I think like one of the things, you know, penals now have to get the PTRS upgrade to get the sticky satchels. So now the looks will be able to drive in close against the penals to cut them down. So I suppose in that particular matchup, this, you know, the looks would have been even stronger, but now it's being nerfed a bit. So this mainly makes it worse at kiting, or do less damage when it's like backing away from a squad trying to anti-tank grenade it or something. I mean, I think the looks at the moment is probably too strong against the T-70, but especially because like the way the looks shoots quite often gets rear armor hits, and it means the T-70 doesn't beat it quite as well as it should. But yeah, only doing 6% damage to vehicles seems a bit extreme. They could probably just reduce the penetration. Then it would still be very strong against the AA half track. Because at the moment, you, as US forces, you just can't get the AA half track against OKW because the looks will just kill it every time. Which is why you basically never see a lieutenant anymore these days. Oh well. Yep. I hope that it's actually 62%, not 6%. That's the main change. I think the scatter is probably a reasonable change. Volksgrenadiers, flame grenades, now unlocked where you get the first tech truck. So that's when you build the first truck, I guess, not actually deploy it and upgrade it. Alright. Oh, well, I should read their thought process behind this. We found that the veterancy and upgraded Volksgrenadiers scale too well versus other core infantry and overshadow much of OKW's own elite infantry. To compensate for this, the following changes have been made. So yeah, flame grenades being changed. Probably not going to change much. You can get if it is built on when the actual half track hits the field, you can build one of those like very early. It's not going to change pretty much anything there. Flame grenade now has a 0.75 second timer on explosion. So yeah, I mean that's probably a good change. At the moment, you just toss it out there, hits, means you can pretty much win any engagement of STG Volksgrenadiers against any squad, even like elite infantry. because they have to reposition, and whilst they reposition, they get the moving accuracy penalty, and then they end up losing the engagement because they took. Because when the flame grenade hits, it does like a burst of damage, and then it does damage over time. So yeah, it does the burst of damage, then damage over time, and the burst of damage is more than the damage over time, like more than the first tick of damage over time. So yeah, I think that's a welcome change. Probably makes it more comparable to the Molotov now as well. And Faust price reduced from 30 to 25. That's fine. Bring it in line with the other anti-tank snares. Makes sense. Veterancy changes. Vet 3 received accuracy increased from 0.9 to 0.86. Oh, yep. Okay, so I've read through there. And then it says all combat bonuses from Vet 4 and Vet 5 removed. Accuracy bonus and weapon cooldown. So yes, they are continuing their war against Vet 4 and Vet 5 OKW, looks like. So they're making OKW better. Oh, the Fox unit is better at Vet 3, but worse at Vet 4 and Vet 5. So I feel like Fox Grenadiers at Vet 3 will be more comparable to Bard Riflemen. I mean, it used to be at Vet 3 Fox Grenadiers would lose quite badly to Bard Riflemen. But now maybe they won't lose quite so badly, but then I think they'll still lose. But yeah. But I think they're trying to encourage people to get obers. Basically, not many people buy obers because the Fox Grenadiers are so strong. So it looks like they're trying to change that. Anyway, Fox require cover and stationary, and to be stationary to benefit from their Vet 4 sight bonus. Alright. Vet 3 passive healing ability moved to Vet 5. Okay. So yeah, reshuffling their veterancy and overall nerfing Fox Grenadiers, but making them better at Vet 3. So I often felt playing OKW at Vet 3, Fox Grenadiers were at a bit of a disadvantage. And then you had to wait until you got those last two stages of veterancy till they became OP. So it's probably reasonable changes overall, especially if they want to encourage people to make overs, which I think they do. Sturm Tiger is being further adjusted to limit its ability to hide in the fog of war and destroy units without being seen. In return, we are improving aspects of the Sturm Tiger's defensive capabilities to compensate. So pop cap being reverted, I talked about how that was a super change, to 18. So it's still going to be higher than most indirect fire, which is at 14, I think. Sturm Tiger can no longer fire through buildings. Huge change. Pretty much only thing you ever did with a Sturm Tiger was fire through buildings. Range being reduced as well from 45 to 40. So I think most units still have 35 sights. So I think it will still shoot from outside the fog of war on most units that don't have enhanced sight giving abilities. But that's the same range as most tanks have, 40. Reloads duration decreased from 50 to 40 seconds, so they can fire more often. Veterancy requirements decreased. Yeah, this didn't really make sense. The veterancy on it was really high. Even if you killed tanks, like multiple tanks, it would be very rare to see it go past Vet 3 in a game. Vet 1 grenades increased radius. Oh, far, okay. Damage far increased. radius decreased, penetration decreased. So I think that's going to make the performance of the grenade similar, but over a slightly smaller radius. But in fact, probably actually better. Probably better performance from that grenade. So making the grenade a little bit better. And there, okay. So these are the changes they're making. So it's going to be very hard for Storm. I think Storm Target's probably going to be trash, honestly. Still. Especially if you're like a switched on player and you can hear it through the fog of war. Now you can't fire it through buildings. I think probably needs some more buffs rather than just decreasing its reload time a bit more. LEIG is being tuned to require more player input to be used effectively. In return, we are boosting its damage against ambient structures, improving its support and anti-garrison ability. Auto attack range decreased from 100 to 85. So I think they were trying to do this in the full bounce patch as well. One thing we have to check. Okay, they are changing something about the mortar pit, so we'll have a look at that change soon, but keep that in mind. They're changing the mortar pit and the IG at the same time. So 85 range is 5 range more than the average mortar. Auto attack range bonus removed from Vet 1. Oh, but see, okay. They're decreasing the auto attack range, but not the barrage range. Oh, okay. So that's what they're doing. So make it more similar to the pack outs in that respect, which has like a longer barrage range, but shorter auto fire range. Okay, I see what you're doing there. Probably fair enough. I'm glad that they didn't like remove auto attack from it and things like that they've tried before. I feel like removing auto attack just makes it too hard for new players to use. Anti-structure damage increased. Okay. So is this like, will it destroy the building itself faster, or will the units inside it? I'm not sure. Probably the building itself, I think. Or maybe not. Maybe this is... How much damage does the LEIG do? I've got the tab open, ready to go. That's why I'm a professional analyzer. We're looking at this. Regular shelter's 80. So yeah, there's no way that they would make it on a direct hit. So a garrison does 50% damage reduction. So that would mean if it was against units inside the garrison, a direct hit would instantly kill the unit inside. So I don't think they are changing that. Maybe they're making it so it destroys the building itself faster. That would be how I interpret it, at least. HE barrage recharge time increased from 30 to 40 seconds. Smoke barrage, oh, it's independent from the HE barrage. Okay, that's interesting. I suppose that, yeah, I mean, if they're going to increase the time of the barrage, they better make the smoke independent from it. Intel bulletin for barrage lowered from 25% to 10%. I mean, I didn't feel like the LEIG barrage was that broken that it needed like a recharge time change, and the bulletin was too strong. But that's okay. Kubel front armor further reduced from 3.5 to 3. Remember, it was 4.5 before. Rear armor partially reverted. I haven't got a chance to cast or play with the new Kubel, but I did play with the one in the full bounce patch, and it seemed pretty shit. So I'm not. I think the Kubal's probably going to be pretty bad. They're saying the Kubal wagon could still cost-effectively duel most infantry units in the field during the early game. But I feel like that's kind of what it needs to be able to do, because it gets so easily countered by the M3 and by the well, mechanized has been changed for US forces, but occasionally players use the Jeep in that, which also wrecked the Kubal. And then with the repair speed nerfs, the Stern Pioneers, less armor on the front of the Kubal. Because the Kubal can die so easily, whereas like it's a lot harder to lose a squad of infantry, I feel, because you hit retreat, they get their retreating bonuses, makes it very hard to kill on retreat. I feel like the Kubal is a lot easier to kill, so you don't really transition to it into the late game usually. So it needs to be strong in the early game. So I don't know, it's probably a bit too far for me, but I don't get to test the changes, so I suppose my input is only so valid on that one. Okay, W Panzer IV has been changed. It's going up in manpower, down in fuel. Yeah, I talked about how it costs too much fuel. It's a good change. I think 140 fuel is the perfect amount of fuel for it. I think the EZ8 costs 145. T-34-85 costs, is it 130? And I mean the what is it? M4C Sherman is 135 still after the change. That you have to build it from tier 4. So I think this is probably a good spot. Population costs increased from 12 to 14. Whoa, okay, they're changing it quite a lot more than just the cost. Scatter improved by a decent amount. Penetration increased, so getting the same penetration increase as the offset one. Population 12 to 14. So if we go have a look at the population of the EZ8 and the M4C, let's do a quick comparison. EZ8's over here, 14, so yeah, same pop as the EZ8. And we are looking at both the 85 and the M4C. 14 for the 85, 14 for the M4C. So they're kind of normalizing it, kind of making the OKW Panzer IV more like a super medium, like the other super mediums, and adjusting it to perform more like that. So it's, I think those changes are all right in my books. Oh, their veterancy is changing as well. V2 scatter veterancy increased. Oh, so they're nerfing the scatter. So they're buffing the scatter at Vet 0, nerfing the scatter at Vet 2. Vet 4 range bonus removed. So yeah, they're definitely continuing their campaign against Vet 4 and Vet 5. And at Vet 5, the Panzer IV must be stationary to benefit from sight bonus. So yeah, similar to spine scopes, that's fine by me. Okay, well, I'm surprised about the scatter nerf. Thought maybe that would make this performance more similar to, I think the EZ8. I suppose it's like in only one commander, but I think the EZ8 will quite handily smash this. So maybe they shouldn't have changed that. Oh well. King Tiger Vet 4 sight bonus removed. I mean, it's very hard to get the King Tiger to Vet 4 and Vet 5 anyway, so that doesn't really change much unless they reduce the variancy requirements. Panzer Fusiliers, population from 6 to 8. Okay, this is the change that everyone's been waiting for. So now they'll be the same cost as penals, which makes sense because they're probably better than penals. G43 site upgrade bonus from 50% to 20%. So yeah, they'll still be able to see further they can shoot. And v1.3 accuracy plus 15% accuracy changed to plus 15% capture and decapture rate. So I think they get sprint at v1.5, right? Passive sprint when they're out of combat. We are looking for Fusiliers. Yes, passive sprint. So they're going to be very effective. Oh, it's plus 20% accuracy apparently. So they're going to be a very effective capping squad now once they vet up. And honestly, they were super broken at v1.4. Even at this, they'll be very strong. They'll still probably be stronger than penals. But that's all right. Not like overwhelmingly better. So that's good. Obers cost reduced, so they're going to be more similar in cost now to Panzer Grenadiers. Whoa, LMG 34 and STG 44 munitions cost decreased from 60. Oh, increased. Oh, I was going to say decreased. Oh, no, increased. So yeah, I mean, it was obviously you always got the upgrades, and really the LMG 34 is necessary for the Obers to be good. It's the best LMG in the game, hands down. So increase in cost there. Reduced reinforcement time. So I guess they're trying to like balance out. Okay, you pay a little bit less manpower, but you pay a bit more munitions. Maybe in the hopes that you'll get your Obers out a little bit earlier. And maybe you'll have to wait to upgrade the LMG because of the increased cost. I mean, it's not going to be too big. Oh my god, I've been going for an hour. Oh my god, it's going to be even longer than the initial patch. This includes a lot of changes though. It's probably similar in length to the initial patch. So I'll start trying to pick that up. PopCap reduced from 10 to 9. So it seems like they're reducing a lot of PopCap on quite a few units. Reinforcement costs, time reduced, build time reduced, v1.4 received accuracy bonus reduced, and v1.4 suppression. So instead of having passive suppression, you have to use it probably like the US Forces one on the paratroopers. So it's good changes. Others might be too strong. Might be a little bit too strong from this, but anyway, moving on. Fallschirmjäger received accuracy improved. So at v1.0 they're going to be better. v1.3 received accuracy bonus removed. So yeah, they're making them better straight away and worse once they vet up. Population increase, so they're going to be the same cost as Obers. I think their performance was better than say penals, which are also at 8. So alright, and can now camouflage and cover when stationary. Whoa, without veterancy. That's a big change. Without veterancy. Okay, so that's how they're adjusting them. I think probably reasonable changes on overall. Jagdpanzer 4. Felt the Jagdpanzer 4's veterancy bonuses made it scale too well and became too lethal at high veterancy. To reduce its lethality while keeping it an effective tank destroyer, we've made the following changes. Increased range from which it can be detected from 10 to 20. Yeah, so they're going to do that in the full balance patch, so that makes it the same detection range on the camouflage as the looks. So that's very reasonable. v2 armor and sight bonus removed. So similar to the Panther, it gets bonus health, or used to get bonus health and armor v2. So now it's just getting the bonus health. v2 now increases accuracy by 20%. That's okay. It's going to be very strong v2. v5 ambush camouflage damage accuracy penetration bonus from plus 150% to plus 20. So they're nerfing ambush, so like shooting out of camouflage the first shot, they're nerfing that. It used to be when you they used to do it. It was Captain S. Price. He would go for the Jagdpanzer IV with heat rounds, with, from elite armor, plus the this was in twos, plus the marked vehicle from the Command Panther back when it gave a high percentage damage bonus, and almost one shot IS2s. It was kind of insane. So yeah, they're changing Jagdpanzer. I'm not going to complain about any of those changes. They seem perfectly reasonable. Raketenwerfer being changed. v1 speed bonus when stealth is being changed. So they made it easier to control by making it move at full speed when detected, and now they're nerfing the v1 speed bonus. Oh, but that projectile now ignores terrain elevation. That is a huge change. The Raketen always used to hit the ground. Always. That is a huge change. And the Raketenwerfer can no longer be suppressed. Oh my god. The Raketenwerfer is going to be crazy. Those are monster changes for the Raketen. This was probably like the biggest issue with the Raketen. It will still, like, it can't be suppressed. That's also a big change, because it quite often gets suppressed when you like sneak it into position. So that could even be too strong. But it will still, like, other anti-tank guns give the crew a defensive bonus, whereas the Raketen doesn't. It gets like a received damage bonus. The Raketen doesn't. So it should still be quite easy to decrew, but no longer. Yeah, that's huge change to Raketen. Wow. Yeah, that got me fired up, man. British, not many changes to the British. The Piats range increased to 35. So what? Piat, okay. Okay, they're reducing the fire accuracy, but it's probably because you're increasing the range. Yeah, so maybe this is like to compensate for the increased range, they're decreasing the fire accuracy, because otherwise it would have the same accuracy at a longer range, so it would be more accurate at shorter ranges, right? Mid-range increased. Okay, yeah, so they're tweaking the Piat a little bit. Piat seems to be okay. But yeah, most tanks have 40 range, so most tanks are not going to have much leeway to kite the Piat. But I think this is the same as the Shrek. Right? This is the same as the Panzer Shrek. Panzer Grenadiers. Panzer Shrek. God, look at all these. Look at all these Panzer Shreks they got listed here. Panzer Shrek range 35, yeah, so same range as the Panzer Shrek, but the Piat I think does 100 damage, not 120, so I can't even remember how much it costs anymore. But so it's same range as the Panzer Shrek, so you know you can still kite Piat squads, but it's going to be a bit harder. Trenches. Target size now significantly increases when they're abandoned. Okay, this is what I talked about. They're too hard to kill when they're not crewed. So now they're going to be able to be destroyed more easily. That's a nice change. Mortar pits being changed to be more in line with the LEIG. Auto attack range being decreased to 90. So they're going to keep the barrage. The barrage is going to be long range, but auto fire is going to be shorter range. So I think that's a good change. Oh, and the barrage cooldown's been greatly decreased. So you're going to be able to barrage pretty good with it. But I thought the barrage on this was pretty similar in terms of rate of fire to the auto fire, honestly. So yeah, using barrage, yeah, I thought that's how it worked. So yeah, okay, that's good change. Smoke barrage on independent cooldown from HE barrage. But I think the smoke barrage on the Soviet and the Austrian mortar is on the same cooldown as the HE barrage. Maybe the US mortar might be different though. But it doesn't really matter. It's okay if I'm not really too concerned if different factions, like one of them has smoke on different cooldown to HE barrage. That doesn't really concern me too much, honestly. Okay, bug fixes and quality of life changes. 1 hour 10 into this video. Small changes. Fix an issue where USF grenade bulletins were not applied to rear echelon smoke. Okay, good change. Readjusted pathfinding. Readjusted, I mean, did they revert the changes from, did they mention earlier in the patch? Okay. Don't know what that means, but cool. Remove forced movement from commando squads that have recently deployed. Okay, I don't know what that is. Removed tank elite armor, tank commander ID from firing into the base. So yeah, they're trying to stop all off maps from going into the base. But they forgot about the elite armored tank commander, which is very expensive, but it's a decent artillery strike. Improved the mine laying speed of assault engineers and paratroopers to match other squads. Okay. Probably good for the assault engineers. Paratroopers, I don't recall using them. I don't know how long it took to plant. There would only be the mine planting paratroopers from recon support, right? Which are very rarely seen. Change Osttroopen cover bonus indicator. Instead of an overhead crosshair indicator, Osttroopen cover bonus displays in the same way as the Tommy bonus. Okay, so yeah. The icon used to appear as that little like crosshair above their heads, but on all the other ones that got cover bonuses was like their shield, their green shield was like a different icon. So that, I guess they're changing it to be the same as that. So it's good to make things more clear for newer players and improve consistency across the board. Good change. Increase target weak points. Increased duration of target weak point like abilities to match initial delay. Not sure what that does. Added a warning line for stun grenades. Yeah, I thought that sometimes that people would throw stun grenades and they wouldn't trigger the grenade warnings. So I'm glad I wasn't completely off base thinking that. So yeah, another big dose of patches. Big list of changes, probably, yeah, similar in length. Well, my video is similar in length, but to the initial lot of changes, so a lot of changes. And overall good changes again, A few things here and there. I mean, the Jackson change is the biggest by far. But yeah, I'm looking forward to testing this one out, and once again try send your replays in. Hopefully this 1.3 will be around for a bit longer than the other version, so I actually get to cast some games on it, because I tried 2 times to cast games on the balance patch, but the new patch came too quickly for me to be able to do so. And I cast one more game. I got like half an hour into it, and I had to flush it because it was a bad game. So yeah, that's why I haven't done a cast for a while, basically. But yeah, I'll wrap on that, guys. Oh, and well, I suppose I should give another Easter egg for those of you who've watched the whole thing. What should I? What should be the code word this time? Oh, I just don't have any ideas. I'm too too frazzled from analysing all these patch notes. Or how about writing in the comments below, I drink 8 glasses of water a day because I'm a healthy boy. So yeah, I'll wrap on that, guys. And enjoy and send your replays in. Peace.